in Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Hey, everybody, welcome. It's so great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. So many of you have really been following us over to the Psychic and the Doc show that we do. Mark Anthony and I do this show at 4 o'clock, and we have been talking about a movement. It started with a little known fact that the world is now paying attention to. And it's this fact that somewhere in one of the COVID relief bills, and you'll have to fact check me on this because I don't have the exact detail, there is a clause in there to release information to the public on what? UFOs, extraterrestrial. Now, why is that? Why was that such an important idea for the previous administration? But when we're thinking about this today, this is not new. This has been a journey that thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years we have been talking about this. All you need to do is tune in to some of these channels that try to explain how the dang pyramids were built. But today, joining me here today is an ambassador. And I want to tell you about Glow. I want to tell you about what I'm just going to say. Glow Rod's portal journey ambassador began in 1980. She loves what she does. She loves it. There are many, many high excitements of hers, things to be of service to. But these journeys, these interactions, they're fun. They're learning. But they are forward-looking, innovative, and unexplainable sometimes to most people. Today, though, this is the deal. Embrace your true self and your preferred reality and join her on a portal journey. Why? Because connecting with extraterrestrials has been a gazement of many people over thousands of years that we could ever count back, for as long as we could document something other than us going on. Glow, it's great to have you.
Oh, Dr. Pat, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, I called you Glow. That's not your full name. But your full name comes with a full story.
Oh, yes.
And it comes with full courage, right? You know, when I do an introduction like this, and certainly since I've been doing the show with Mark, right? We made a decision that Mark was going to handle all the guests for about the first 3 months, and I was going to handle the next part. But I've been in awe of what I hear and what I'm learning. You live and breathe every day. You're living and breathing this. I want to ask you, tell me, since you being you, and discovering you being you, what are some of the challenges? What are some of the obstacles that you, Glow Rod, had to really face, overcome to get you here to talking on this show today? Let's start with the easy question.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did.
It's funny.
Well, you know, when I realized that I was a portal journey individual, when I was traveling around enjoying portals and energies of portals, I'm like, oh, this is the 1980s. Who am I going to tell? Who am I going to share this with? So there were individuals I found through meetup.com and different types of groups. And, I would share my adventures with them. But it wasn't until I actually relocated to this town, which is the center of the magnification portal. And when I arrived in this town, I realized my family is huge. They're very loving, they're honest, they have integrity, and they too have challenges as well. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey. I am appreciative of New Age. And I got together with my huge family, and they're just like, the time is now, put everything aside. We support you. Let's do it. And so I said, it's time.
Here's the thing. When you get that kind of support and you get that kind of what I call mojo momentum, and I want to tell you what I mean a little bit by mojo momentum. I think because you laughed already. It's that thing that happens when somebody either pokes you in the right way or guides you in the right way or disciplines you in the right way, like what happened to me as a kid, or supports you in the right way, that automatically gives you the Einstein equation for motivation.
Absolutely.
And then the only thing that gets in your way is you.
You got it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. Mm-hmm.
How did you then take the next step? And we're going to talk about, everything you've done. Gloria Rodriquez joining me here today. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about what's upcoming for you, what you're going to share with us. But it's one thing to have the momentum. It's another thing to take the momentum and turn it into movement. What'd you do next?
Mm-hmm. Action. Yes. Action is how I communicate with my higher mind, with all that is. Action, taking that first step. So yes, quite a few events happened last year that really got me moving. So yes, last year was a big year for me. Mm-hmm.
It was a big year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, you didn't let anything get in your way. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
You were not really, we're here to talk about your journey, and we're here to talk about Portal Journey Ambassador especially. When I think about anything that has to do with Journey and Ambassador, I'm already like, where are we going? What's the ride about? But then let's talk about the portal part of this, because we're hearing the term portal now more than we've ever heard before. Let me give you a pop culture. Can I give you a pop culture reference?
Please share.
Yeah, just pop culture. I'm going to give you my pop culture moment. So the deal is you get these new television shows and you start to think, what is the thinking behind a show like this? My latest addiction to TV is a show called Debris. It is a fascinating show. It was a little bit boring at first, but now we're talking about metal boxes going through portals, stuff inside them disappearing because of something bigger. This is their language, something bigger operating. What's your experience? Tell us what a portal is and tell us what your journey was like. I don't know. Do you remember your first?
I don't remember the first. I do remember now, because now is what counts.
That's right. Now is what counts.
That's right. That's right. So my extraterrestrial family has shared with me that a portal is a gateway, a doorway, an overlap where swirling energy in motion occurs. So it gives an individual with the appropriate energy level to go through and experience whatever that portal energy offers. So my focus as a Portal Journey Ambassador is focused on 8 portals in the western area of the United States. I reside in one of the most powerful portals on planet Earth.
Yeah.
That was a big step.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really one that we do talk about quite a bit, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And let's talk about this. I've attended many workshops and have gone through conversations with spiritual leaders now for almost 2 decades since I started the show. My spiritual mentor in 1999 and 1998 opened me up to, let's just call it, indigenous spiritual practices, humbled me to my knees. I will tell you, I consider that my first portal, my first step into something that I couldn't describe.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't describe it. Didn't have the language we're talking about today. I now know it's way different, right?
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Then I go to a 10-day retreat with the one and only Dr. Jean Houston. Now, I'd love to get Jean back on and have her talk to me today about this concept of having a quantum partner. What is she talking about? Well, she's talking about what you're talking about, but you're being so direct. And we don't have time to fool around right now.
No, we don't.
Okay.
We have a landing that's happening very soon, in about a month. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I want to ask you this question. I want to know what it's like to be you every day.
Magnificent, fabulous, awesome.
That's what I'm trying to find out, because you got some happy juice going on. And I think, in the world we're living in, we're talking about a lot of negative stuff. But there's something that happens when you have a new level of awareness, Gloria, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Absolutely.
We're going to talk about that today, too.
Yeah. Definitely.
But tell me about what it's like for you to have a new level of awareness. Tell me about the shift that it makes in energy for people. Tell me about what it does to New Hope.
I have this courage that I've never had before, and it's supported with unconditional love and inner peace. When I meet individuals, they're just like, oh my God, I love your energy. Like, what's your phone number? Can I stay in touch? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
I know. We're like twins with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's something that you and I are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about your dedication.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about what you call the trust revolution. Amen for that.
Thank you.
And we're going to talk about, what are we talking about? Why is it in our pop culture now? Going back to my friend Dee Wallace, who you're going to need to talk to, why is it that the mom on ET now turns out to be one of the world's leading spiritual medium, hearing messages that connect you with your next step? What is it about this question? Is it a chicken and egg question? Are there messages that are trying to be brought forward through whatever methods can be brought forward? And what is Gloria Rodriquez doing as that ambassador, that portal ambassador, to give us the real deal? Stay tuned. That and so much more from my very special guest today. We'll be right back.
Do you consider yourself to be a misfit, rebel, or troublemaker, or a round peg in a square hole that just doesn't seem to fit in? You are not alone. Join me, Dr. Brooke Sheehan, on the Body Talks podcast, where I help the ones who see things differently find what they need to thrive in order to change the world. Tune in live every second and fourth Tuesday at 5 a.m. only on transformationtalkradio.com.
The Finder of Lost Things, exploring your superpowers of trust, healing, and transformation with me, Hannah Belton. When my brother Christian went missing, I completely denied my grief. We can either transform and transition, or we can stay stagnant. This podcast will uncover the process that Christian and I went on to find the lost things, him, and to find the parts of me that were missing. And there's things that are missing in you that prevent you from letting go, whether it's a person, a dream, a lifestyle. That process of trusting and finding the lost pieces and integrating them. That's where you get your sustainable transition that will carry on. Tune in every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com. You can find me at hannahvelton.online.
Get empowered on transformationtalkradio.com. You're driven, and it totally shows. Your career is taking off, you're killing it in the mom game. But did your health needs make it on the plate this week? Tune in to the Boss Up Babe radio show, where Carissa Adkins helps babes show up, boss up, and thrive. Every second and fourth Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com. Become the boss babe you were meant to be. To sign up for one of Carissa's group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit thetruthisfunny.com.
Hey, everybody. I got to tell you, I am so excited to talk with Gloria Rodriquez today. Glow Rod. We talk about it. She talks about Glow Rod's portal journey ambassador, when that began. Today, we're going to talk about fast forward to where we are, because these are conversations that now are important. We have shamed so many people over time. We have literally taken them and punished them. We have put people in institutions, in asylums for the conversation we're about to have today. And yet what we're finding is there was nothing wrong with those people. And every one of you out there, if you're like me and you spend time with Dr. Jacoby, or maybe you've had your own experience, but was too afraid to say, this is a pathway to freedom. Yes, it's a portal. It's a way to connect with extraterrestrials, but there's something freeing inside of you that hopefully will remove the guilt and shame and the silence you've had. And today, that's what we're talking about. There's just too many dang people doing something about this now, including our federal government. So now we're going to talk with Gloria about how did she become an ambassador, and how is it that we are now talking about an extraterrestrial family. In Jean Houston's words, another way to say it, a quantum partner. What does that mean? Well, it's somebody out there that's giving you messages. Gloria, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this ambassadorship, and let's talk about what the journey is that you've been called to bring forward in the world.
With pleasure. So in 2020, it was a challenging year for most of us. There was a time where I felt very guilty because I was having the time of my life. I was becoming extremely aware of what was occurring in regards to my energy level increasing. It was upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. Sometimes it went a little too fast, but that's okay. Can handle it, okay? So during one of my portal journeys, I was traveling from the magnification portal to the portal of probabilities onto the spirit portal. And it was the most magical experience ever. When I came back, all of a sudden, these things began occurring, dreams, interactions, things of that nature. And as soon as I had the last dream, I went into a state of insistence. What's going on? What's happening? What am I supposed to do? The state of insistence prevents my extraterrestrial family and I to communicate. I need to be in a positive state or a neutral state in order to have that link, that synchronicity. All right. And it took me months, Dr. Pat. I was like, okay, let me just write. Everything happens for a positive reason. Yeah. My crazy good life is a synchronized orchestration. It took months. And then all of a sudden, they finally did share with me what my dreams meant and what my responsibility is now. They reminded me, they were kind enough to remind me, okay, that I autographed a contract that said I would be of service.
Yeah.
They reminded me of that.
Right.
We played table tennis with that. I did? Really? Yes, you did. Okay. All right. And so I was like, all right, I'll be open. And one morning I woke up and I started writing, and that you need to write a book. And the book is about the journey that you had with these two portals and the dreams. Then the next item of responsibility was to create a course. The next responsibility was to begin focusing on two portals. One is the extraterrestrial portal, and the other is the ancestors portal.
Yeah.
And then they gave me this idea. And for me, an idea is a form of abundance. So I kept writing, I am abundant, just because I was like, okay, what is this?
It is a form of abundance. I'm with you on that, 1,000,000 gazillion %.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And this idea of group came to mind, and library. And I was just like, okay, I don't know anything about a library. And how do I get a group together? And then the magic started happening, which my life is very magical. And I was hiking one day and I saw a woman with a particular t-shirt, and I made a wonderful comment. And then this gentleman heard me and he directed me to this program and watch this video and and all the synchronization came into play.
Yep.
And I realized it was time to create a group called Extraterrestrial Trust Revolution, and to build a library that will post blogs of peaceful messages.
Yeah.
To begin
Wow.
our journey. Mhm.
You know, I love that story, because one of the greatest challenges I have, and I think you relate to this, but what I hear you saying is, you know, you followed the signs.
Oh, yes.
You followed the signs, and you trusted in that following, right?
Mhm. Yes.
And I just wonder how often we are given signs that are more just a flashing sign, but a sign that will help us get to our next indicated thing. And I often wondered, how many of these are we getting and ignoring?
Oh, tons.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, you know, let me ask you this question, because one of the great misconceptions I do believe that we have about learning from our extraterrestrial family is the following. It's the same misconception we have about learning from God, or whatever God that is for you, or whatever you pray to, or whatever that is. It could be 1,000,000 deities or whatever you look at. And one of the misconceptions is that you're waiting for the moment of the lightning to strike. But I got to tell you, some days when I sit down in my meditation, I say, what is mine to do today? It's get up and brush your teeth. I'm not kidding. Or it's something like, you don't have any groceries. You need to stop stopping at the burger place. I mean, I will get that. Other days, it's call that producer in Rhode Island, because he can help you build a network. And you say to yourself, what? That Chris guy in that Rhode Island state? What? But then you do it. Can you talk about this? Because we think that we're only waiting for the big life journey path. But you see, that message to call Chris did turn out to be the Transformation Network.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my extraterrestrial family has shared that with me. And it's very simple. If you have a passion, I want to take a walk, I want to play with my cat, I want to read a book, and do it. Just do it. And it will continue to lead you.
Yeah.
It will continue to lead you. And you have to just trust. You just have to have this gut instinct. You have to know that what I'm doing right now, I love to do, and it's going to take me to the next step. And I don't have to sit here and go, this is what I got to do. I got to make this deadline. You will. I promise you, you will.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're even talking about this. I went through this yesterday, so I need your help explaining this. You ready for it? Because this is a real life situation.
Okay.
So I get up in the morning very early. I turn on my computer. I'm off and running. Coffee will get made. Maybe I'll get a shake sometime today. If I'm lucky, I'm going to grab a hard-boiled egg out of the fridge. I don't know what time that's going to be. I'll take my vitamins, right? But my day goes, and it can go and it can go. So here's what I did yesterday. I got done with most of my really heavy duty by 3. Now, I got to tell you, I had a meeting today at 1 and a deadline for months of work that I had not, I don't want to say I hadn't started it, but I hadn't started the final product. I'd been working with the client for months. My choice was this, Gloria, help me. Explain this to the people. Explain this to Linda and Jessica. My choice was trudge through it, Pat. Try to put it together. Right? And I sat down and I assessed the situation. And then I heard, get up, put on your work clothes. It's going to rain tomorrow. Put down those 10, 16 by 16 slabs that you need to put down to put the waste can on. Dig that out, flatten it out. And I have to tell you, when you're with people that want details and you don't know how to explain to them how you know how to do this, you will get in a boatload of trouble because you don't know how to say, you know, I don't know if I'm doing it right. I just know at this moment that I'm supposed to dig down to these levels. So when I put the slabs down, it's going to be all good.
It's going to be all good.
It's going to be all good. That is a hard deal if you're somebody like you. And if, you know, people call it intuition, I don't consider that intuition because that renewal moment, I came back into the house at 7:00. I sat down and I put 90% of that project together. And I put it together and connected the dots from 4 different documents from 6 different sections. And I'm not that bright. You know, that happens with a lot of help. Is that how this works sometimes, Gloria?
You follow your passion. You follow what is going to help you right here, right now. And don't worry about the other stuff. If it's not meant to be today, it'll get done. Everybody will understand. Everything happens for a positive reason. So yes, how did you feel?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, I felt really bad that I couldn't explain myself in a way that made sense, right? I couldn't find a way to explain myself.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find the words to say, you got to trust me. I just know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I may not be doing this perfectly, but I can't explain to you how I know that I had to dig down 2 to 3 inches. When we come back, I want to talk to you about what happens when you don't know. And I'm giving you a real live everyday situation here. This is not about stopping world hunger, but this ultimately led to what we started to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a pathway to abundance. And
Yes.
if you trust, things will get done. But how did I know, and I didn't know, that I had to go down 2 to 3 inches? What did I find at 2 to 3 inches that we weren't going to go down? When we come back, all of that more. Gloria, how do people find out more about you? Let's get that rolling right now.
All righty. Well, they can find me on a website called connectwithets.com. So that stands for connectwithets.com. The other website is westportals.us.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about inspired actions. And look, I'm talking about something with all of you that may seem kind of benign, but you are struggling sometimes to get through your day these days. And if you could get some insight, if there is a voice telling you to put the pen down or take a breath or go for a walk and trust that when you come back, you will be renewed. Man, you got to go for it. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Hey there, I'm Ricky Schwartz from My Turn Life Coaching, Reclaim Your Life. My last tip to listeners was to list your top 5 core values and then convert each of them to a statement. At the time, one of my examples was passion, and passion fuels my perseverance. And yes, I found this exercise to be the best first step toward helping my clients to reclaim their lives. But there's a second exercise that works in tandem with the first. This time, write down your top few negative core value statements about yourself or the world in general. 2 examples may be, if people knew the true me, they would never accept me, or people are generally untrustworthy. Afterwards, ask yourself 2 questions. Are you surrounding yourself with people who don't share or at least support your positive core values? And are your negative core values, or those of others, drowning out your positive core values? If yes to either, you've extinguished your ability to make personalized decisions. Go to myturnlifecoaching.com and let's unleash the power of your core values.
Get empowered on transformationtalkradio.com. The Truth is Funny. Shift Happens with monthly guest host Karen Benton. Tune in for powerful conversations about health and wellness. Karen brings unique insights rich with humor and science to her discussions with experts in medicine, movement, psychology, spirituality, and so much more. Don't miss Karen on The Truth is Funny every 3rd Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more information about Karen, visit KarenBenton.com.
Ascending with the Arcturians with Vivian Chouvette. Tune in to Transformation Talk Radio every 2nd and 4th Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are shifting from this 3rd dimensional plane of reality to higher octaves of life. Let us reclaim our sovereignty as a united family of light and manifest the planetary ascension, our return to Prime Creator. For information on our services and to connect with Vivian, visit infinitehealingfromthestars.com.
Imagine what it would be like to turn your pain into purpose. Tune in to Transformation with Martinet every 2nd and 4th Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Martinet and her guests are here shining their lights today through empowering stories of hardship and transformation. Begin to see your life in a new light. Visit MartinetEmmons.com and tune in every 2nd and 4th Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific to Transformation with Martinet.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Dr. Pat Show. So thrilled to have Gloria Rodriquez joining us here today. Please check it out. Connectwithets.com. That's ETS.com. And we're going to give you lots more information. We're going to talk about an upcoming course that's coming, especially now as we talk about what the heck happened in 2020. But I want to get back to this little story because this is a nuts and bolts practical deal. So we weren't going to dig out this space. Probably, I'd say about an 8-foot space. They had 5 16 by 16s across, then another row. They're heavy concrete slabs.
Yeah.
The easy road would have been, let's not dig that deep. Let's just scratch the surface. And I couldn't explain why. I didn't know why. I just got out there and started to shovel. And I kept shoveling. And I kept shoveling. And once I removed the 2 to 3 inches of topsoil, I ran into this interesting clay sand-like, so I don't even want to call it, but dirt. Now, why is that important to know now? Well, if you put 16 by 16 concrete slabs on soft dirt or topsoil, it will run. But if you put it on this ugly tan colored clayish sandish stuff, it ain't going anywhere. Didn't know I was going to find it, didn't know if it would work, but as I was doing it, I knew. And I want to talk about that because we have the ability to know. Tell me about 2020 that took you to a new place of knowing. And the reason I gave that example, people are thinking, really, Pat, you're going to talk about concrete slabs? But no, it's not just concrete slabs. This network was built by a series of dot connections. And I don't really take a lot of credit for them. So tell me about 2020.
2020 was an interesting year. I went to one portal. And again, my extraterrestrial family was like, okay, you signed a document, you signed this, you autographed this contract. So they were kind enough to remind me of that. I'm like, okay. And then I heard the spirit portal call me. And I was like, really? There's a lockdown? Are you sure? And they're like, you're coming to visit me, watch. And I was like, all right, gotta trust this. Connected with one person, connected with the other person. What really got me started was I've got to let go of how and just trust that this calling is going to happen. I don't know how. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to insist on it. I'm just going to stay neutral and watch the puzzle come together. And when I was standing in the spirit portal, I was like, is today my birthday or something? I mean, it was gift after gift after gift. And I'm like, I still can't believe I'm here.
Wow.
But it was just, there's a positive reason why I'm getting called. Yeah. And I had no idea that all of this was going to surface from that journey. But I will say to you, it wasn't until I went, I don't know how. I know I will. Trust it, go with it, and watch the magic happen. So yes, very much so.
And that really leads me to really talk about, this notion of who these folks are. Mm-hmm. And I think that's been the hardest part of anybody's journey. Whether you're a child like me and you're standing in your home and you're screaming that there is somebody in there that is in there, but there's no reason and no way they could have gotten in there. You have the only key to get in the house. There's no key for anybody to get out. And you scream and the police come and there's nobody there. Mm-hmm. And how many children have come into this world in the past 2 decades, which talk about seeing things that parents can't see? How many children are really calling for the expansion of pop culture, let's just call it pop culture, television, movies, articles, to really talk to the fact that these are reality, that there is a reality going on here that does, what's the chicken and what's the egg? Do you create a Hollywood movie called Avatar? Do you create a Hollywood movie called E.T. because you're the genius behind it? Or wait a minute, where'd you get the idea from, Spielberg? I don't know. Tell us about how the extraterrestrial family works. And if you don't mind, a little bit describing yours, if you can share that.
My extraterrestrial family is very honest. They have integrity. They provide me with tools and techniques. They are currently facilitating a program so that I can become a shaman.
And, we need to talk about what that means and what that's like, because that's another level, becoming a shaman. And there's a reason for this. And that reason has to do with ancestral messages now that are being called forward. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take the ancestral journey.
Hey there, I'm Ricky Schwartz from My Turn Life Coaching, Reclaim Your Life. How do you know if you're living your life and not someone else's? Here's one way to find out. First, list out your top 5 core values. For example, mine are empathy, excellence, passion, service, and core values. Then put those core values into short first-person core value statements. In my case, 1, empathy powers my relationships. 2, excellence is the goal in all things I do. 3, passion fuels my perseverance. 4, my value is measured by my service to others. And 5, core values drive all of my life decisions. Now ask yourself, Am I using my core value statements to drive my personal and professional decisions? Maybe not. Maybe you've never even considered doing so. And that's where life coaching begins. Go to myturnlifecoaching.com and let's put your personal core values into your driver's seat.
Stuck in a roundabout of dysfunction? Learn how to speak your truth to power with host Dr. Kathy Obear. Create real change with smart tools and smart strategies. No frills, no fluff, just life-changing conversations to help get you where you want to be. Extend your reach and become an agent for real change with Kathy Obear. For more information on Kathy and her work, please visit drkathyobear.com. That's drkathyobear.com.
Did you know that when we talk about the Earth's ecosystems, the most important ecosystem has been left out? We created the ecosystem approach to recapture human potential.
Find us at theecosystemapproach.org.
Join us every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Again, go to the website, connect with ets.com. Go do that. And Gloria, what was the other website, please?
westportals.us.
Okay. All right. Look, there's a connection between shamanism.
Yes.
Ancient ancestral learning.
Yes.
Miraculous healing.
Oh, yeah.
The oldest form of energy medicine that you could even think about. Tell us the importance of you taking that pathway beyond inspiration and creating that activation within yourself.
My focus is in regards to the ancestors, knowing that they too had a connection with extraterrestrials, knowing too that they were one with our planet. They knew that. They had that connection. And it's interesting to hear them from time to time go, remember, we're supposed to all be one. Remember, we are all one. Remember, we got to trust. And hearing and understanding that these extraterrestrials are here to help us, to get us through this. And the ancestors, they knew, they trusted. And that's how they built the pyramids. That's how they built Machu Picchu. They followed their instincts and they followed their true self, the powers that they have within them, which a lot of us have been suppressed in remembering and knowing. Now this is all coming up.
Yeah. You know how I know it's coming up? We start to see it everywhere. We start to see shows with William Shatner, roundtable of the world's most renowned science people, right? You know, people, one of the gentlemen, expert language, hieroglyphic messaging, compared every spiritual, every unique culture in the world, and all of them show the same thing. So this is one, if you want to go back about 10 years, could hardly find anything.
Oh yeah.
Hardly. But there's something about this energy that made the government release documents. What's your take on that?
It's interesting. A couple years ago, I was at a nonprofit board meeting, and it was when Trump was elected. Now, I have read Donald Trump's books. I have heard him speak in New York. There's a magical story of how I even found out that he wrote a new book with Mr. Kiyosaki. I mean, that was magical in itself. And it was interesting to see how certain women just started crying. They're like, oh my God, the fear that they had within them that this individual was going to be president. And I remember saying, you know what? I remember when I was a kid watching TV, when I used to watch TV, and I remember this man sitting in front of this audience going, well, I'm going to be the president. I was like, yeah, how do you know?
I lived in New York and I heard it.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in New York and I heard it. Yeah. And I was like you, dude. No, you're not.
But in reading his books and focusing on other meetup groups, it was obvious. He knows how to get things done, whether we agree or not.
Yeah.
We actually needed him in the United States to stir up this pot that has been this simple way of doing things. And to be that clever to put this release of UFO, which is now has a new term. The United States government is now calling it UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenal. So it's no longer UFO.
Right. That's what I wanted you to talk about.
Yes. And when I think of Mr. Trump, I'm like, he had courage. He figured out a way. He wasn't going to say, no, the buck stops here. So he was part of my inspiration as well. I'm like, look at what he did. Well, let me stick it under this bill. Nobody will notice it. And then it's
right.
Like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait. Wake up.
You know, nobody was talking about it at the time. Okay, so let's just get on this for a minute. This is not a political conversation. I want to be very clear about it because we can talk quite a bit about the meaning of some of the decisions that were made. I have my own personal opinion. I'm an optimist. Some people call me Pollyanna Patty. You know, they look at me and say, how can you look at something like that and see the good in it? You know, do you really believe there's good in everything? Well, did I love that COVID bill when that came out? No. Did I love that little part that you just talked about? You bet. But tell us about that part in more detail, because it isn't called the release of ETs. It's really very professionally, profoundly named.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's on it, but most people don't know about it. Tell us about how that's a game changer.
It is. It is a game changer. And that was what my extraterrestrial family shared with me. Now is the time. And I kept saying, what do you mean by that? Because I had not heard about this COVID relief bill. It wasn't until I was hiking and I saw this woman's t-shirt. And then this man said, you need to know about this guy. You need to watch this television show. Oh, yeah. And did you hear about this executive order? I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay. And that's what kicked in when my ET family said, now's the time. And then when someone said, there's an executive order, and I saw the date, I was like, oh, now is the time. Let me get doing some research. I need to get up on this. And that's how I found you.
Yeah, I don't remember the date. You know what I mean? I remembered it vaguely, but I think I was so like hooked in my old brain that but everybody's ears perked up. Okay, here's what I want to jump to, because this is the exciting part of talking to you and what you're doing and what you're bringing forward in your show and what you're bringing forward in your world. There's always been the question, Gloria, of what came first, chicken or the egg, that metaphor. And that's really been a fascination with me. What came first? Conversation about radioactivity and Godzilla? Did that come first? Or was there information underneath that saying the only way you're going to get to the new level of understanding radiation is to put these monsters out there and give it to kids to watch? So that's just my view of it. And, you know, here we are. Here it is. Here's the question for you, because you are in a leadership role now. Where are we going to go now with this executive order release? And what courses and what are you providing to help people navigate through this? Because this is like going from zero to now there's going to be everything. I don't even know where to begin with that. Go ahead.
You know it. On June 1st, Tuesday, June 1st, I am going to launch the Executive Trust Revolution. And they can go to my website, connectwithets.com. I'm going to create a blog every single day. And that blog is going to be open to anybody who believes that the extraterrestrials are peaceful, that they are family, that they are intelligent and here to share with us. so that we may grow, so that we may prosper, so that we may see the big picture. And that's the deal. And it's free, and it's just for individuals, again, who believe in extraterrestrials. And it's posting a word that.
Yeah. Gloria is going to tell us about what this means to post a word, but it also really taps into, for all of us, some of the questions we had and the conundrum between looking at spirituality and the belief in something about, people or something from another planet. This has always been where we're connecting the dots now. It's really about this platform you're providing. It's going to help answer some questions. For example, I'm a young kid. We're all young kids. I have a story about a young kid that watches the movie E.T. How many years ago was that E.T. movie? My friend Dee Wallace was in it. You got to talk to her. But how old is that dang E.T. movie with Drew Barrymore? What is that, like 30 years old?
Yeah.
And then here we go. We're 30-year-old movie. This is true story. I'm not going to mention names. Child walks in, goes to the spiritual class. Let me just say it that way. I'm not saying which religion it was, because I think this is pretty across the board. And walks into the pastor/priest or whoever was up there and says, I want God to give me my own ET. God made ET. Just like God made me.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
How brilliant is that child? But we can't wrap our minds around that.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with the guy that came, Arno Penzias, in the Big Bang. The man who didn't even know what he didn't know. But here it is.
There it is.
But why couldn't there still be this and that, Gloria? Tell me. Why can't there be this and that?
My extraterrestrial family says you need to look at it this way. There's always this and that. You have freedom of choice. You are free to choose. Do you want to continue with your negative state of being? And how's that working out for you? Or would you like to go with your positive state of being and watch the magic happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're both, you want this and that.
Yeah.
And there's always a way for it to synchronize. When with a positive reason.
Look, I'm very grateful for you. I'm very grateful for you, because I think you are everything that you've said you are, but I think you're going to be more. And I know there are others that are going to be more. I interviewed a gentleman that just wrote the book Contact. And the reason I know there's going to be more is because we are going to have to learn how to integrate now information that has been kept secret for centuries. And we can't do that on our own. It is like my friend who works on the project with the Dead Sea Scrolls and said to me, I'm not telling you anything, Pat, because we don't know it all. But we are learning it all. And we're going to have to help other people learn it all. Gloria, thank you for today. What's your personal message? How will you help us all learn it all so that we can integrate it all?
Well, I have portal journeys. One is the extraterrestrial portal. One is the ancestral portal, very popular. I have a book, and it's called Extraterrestrials, Dreams, and an ET Space Station. Mm-hmm. Yes, they showed me that. I got to see it. Yes.
Well, come on, let's think about it for a minute. I know we got to wrap up here, but where the bleep did SpaceX come from? Out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Nowhere. And why are we calling it SpaceX? Mm-hmm. Let's save that for our next show, will we? Yes. Maybe we'll get Elon Musk on here.
There you go.
All right. Gloria, thank you. Personal message. What do you want to leave us with today?
Remember to follow your hearts.